Alrighty everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Isaac. Just recently I was down here at my trails and I've just seen awesome potential for a line to connect up to these awesome jumps here that you can see now. So I'll go over what the plan is and then I'm going to clear and build the first feature in this video. So let's get straight into it and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, so this drop is fun and so are the jumps that come before it, but the problem with these jumps are you're coming directly down the hill, you get way too much speed and have to jam on the brakes before each feature, which is doable, but it's not as fun as it could be. Alright, so what I'm thinking is instead of coming directly down the hill, there's a drop up there, is come in from this kind of angle and then curve up around the outside of the hill, so it goes all the way around the hill, not directly down the side of it. So that'll make the trail much longer and not as steep, which means you won't get as much speed. So I'm really hoping that'll work. Right, so the berm's pretty much in that direction, and then back this way, there's an old kangaroo trail that's been here for very, very long. I've cleared it and ridden on it before, but this time the plan is to widen it out, make it flat, build some big jumps on it. Kangaroo trail comes around this corner and up that super steep hill. I'm not gonna start from there because that's just too steep. You'll get way too much speed for this corner here. But the plan is for not these two trees, but the two trees up there behind it. So I reckon a step down in between these two trees, going through those two trees and then around the corner will be sick. So I hope it'll work. And that's what I'm gonna build this video. I'm gonna clear this first bit of track up in there for the run in as well. And then in future videos, I'll hopefully build the rest of the trail as well. That's the plan and let's get straight into it. Alright, so I've finished clearing out pretty much the whole part I'm going to need for this build. Not really much of the run out, but that doesn't matter as much. This is all super off canvas. I'm going to have to dig it a heap in to get it all flat, which is going to be heaps of work, but it's not a huge amount of space, so it shouldn't be too bad. And then obviously this corner is going to need to be a berm, so instead of slanting that way, it's going to have to be that way, so that's going to be a ton of digging. That's what I'm going to do now, and let's get started. Alright, so it's all still super dry, but once I can get the tractor down here with the water tank, that should hopefully change, and then I'll be able to ride this berm and run in. But before I do that, I'm going to build the landing, just because then that'll be super dry as well. I'm going to do 2 trips with the tractor and the water tank. So we'll just be able to bring the tractor down, wet the landing, wet the berm and run in, and pack that all in. And then I'm pretty sure I'll build a little wooden drop here at this stage. That's what I'm going to do. We'll see how the landing turns out, and let's start building it. Right, so the landing is finished and it is looking really, really good. It's quite small and narrow, but if it's any wider and you land on the edge, you're gonna be going straight into a tree anyway. So narrow means if you land on it, chances are you will go in between these trees, which are actually really close together, I'm starting to realize. Now obviously it's super dry, I can't pack it in because I don't have any water, so I'm gonna get Dad with the tractor and the tank of water on the back, and I'll spray it all down, pack it in then. But I've kind of shaped it a bit and it's looking really, really good. So let's get some water and pack all this in. Right, so the tractor's just been parked here and the water tank's on the back, and the pump in the water tank runs from the engine of the tractor. So that means the water will go up the hill. Got the tap here. I'm gonna wet this all down, pack it all in, and it should be good. Alright, so I've finished packing in this landing and the berm, and they're looking really, really good. They're really wet now, which is better than dry. They're not perfect. It's hard to get them perfect when only the top layer of dirt is wet and you can't really build it from the bottom up perfectly with wet dirt, but it's better than just leaving it dry, and I'm hoping it'll work really well. So a straight wooden drop out from here I reckon will do nicely, and let's get building that. Alright, so what you've seen so far was about 6 weeks ago. Then I had my back injury, I had to recover, and I just haven't been down at my trails for a long time. But I'm back to finish off the drop. So the landing, it's packed in pretty well, looks pretty bad. So does the berm, but it's starting to get wet again, starting to rain a lot more. So it's nice and wet now. I'll be able to pack it in and make it look nice quite easily. That's not what I'm gonna do now though. What I'm gonna do is build this drop. So the plan is to get that bit of wood that's across there, mount it in between these two trees, put this frame on top of it, put planks on top of that, and then that'll be the drop. And then I just build a transition out of dirt onto the landing. Now I wanted it to be quite a big drop, but can't actually do that. And the reason for that is because it's a very narrow landing and those two trees are actually very close together. And if it's any bigger, I'd need to be going faster, which means if I crash into those trees, it'll be a lot more deadly. So I'm just gonna keep the first feature a bit smaller. It'll still be a good size drop, but I'll keep it a bit smaller, and then hopefully you'll still get enough speed for what's planned over there. And yes, as you can see, the trail is cut further along. I had a digger a few weeks ago come in to do a heap of work for me, so I've just got to smooth it out, pack it in, and build the jumps that are kind of already there. So look forward to that. Hopefully we'll be getting onto that very soon. But for now, I'm going to finish off this drop, so let's do it. Alright, so the drop is done and it's looking super, super good. I'm so happy with how it turned out. It's a good size, not too big, not too small. It's got a decent drop to it and a couple meters length. Also, I made a silly mistake and started putting the planks on at that end of the drop. So when I worked my way up and got to this end, it hung over the end, and if I didn't put this plank on, it wouldn't have been long enough. So what I've had to do is to get a couple blocks of wood, drill it in here, and then screw it in for the top. So it's not ideal, doesn't look as good as it could, but it'll work well. I'm not too fussed by it. And let's have a look at it. Alright, so it's starting to come into the colder, wet months of the year, and this is pretty much the first time we've had a consistent soaking rain for a few days. So, of course, as soon as I got a new feature, it's also just starting to get too wet to ride it straight away. It's all sloppy and just wouldn't be fun possible, but it just wouldn't be fun. The wood would be super slippery, dirt all sloppy and soft, so can't ride it in this video. Hopefully I'll be able to ride it pretty soon. I'm not sure when it'll dry up again, but make sure you subscribe with notifications so you do not miss out on that. And also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.